And then next before you is Senate Bill 5599 to do with protected healthcare services, accessing that by youth. You heard this on February 6th, sponsored by Senator Leas. And that bill had three parts, one addressing shelters, host homes, and then a grant program through Commerce. Before you is a proposed substitute sponsored by Senator Wynn. And what this bill does is, as to the shelter, so part one, I would say, for the unlicensed shelter, that language is struck regarding compelling reasons. For the licensed shelter and service providers, it is reiterated that they are mandated reporters and they are required to report any child abuse and neglect. And the grant program within the Office of Homeless Youth and Commerce is struck, and then one technical change is made, and that is everything.
All right.
And then next also before you is Senate Bill 5601.
Find a place for my gavel. All right, next up we have Senate Bill 5599 before us. There is a proposed substitute labeled D, which is now before us.
Madam Chair, I move adoption of proposed substitute labeled D.
Is there any discussion? Senator Wynn, would you like to speak to your amendment, please?
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Chair. So after we had the hearing on this bill, we had some pretty robust discussions within this committee, but also online as well. So I call this the Brandy Cruz Amendment, actually. So we ended up having a very robust discussion about this bill and around what the bill does or does not do. So just clarifying the fact that, first off, we're going to make this for licensed providers, but also that we are not changing the provisions around protective healthcare services as it relates to this bill specifically. This is about housing and about shelter and ensuring that we have a safe place for our young people. And the question is going to be asked is, why is this even in the bill if this is still required for protective healthcare services? And a lot of it's because there's other jurisdictions not named Washington State where parents are having very thoughtful and engaging dialogues with their young people wanting to provide this type of healthcare services, but it is currently prohibitive in those specific jurisdictions. And some of them are even as aggressive to have bounties where if folks come to Washington State to get this healthcare service, it becomes a crime where they currently reside. So our goal here is to make sure that folks feel safe if they choose to have this care, if they choose to work with their parents on this space, but we don't want to accidentally criminalize somebody for doing what they feel is best for their family. I urge your support.
Thank you so much. Any other comments on this bill? Senator Benke.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to the sponsor of the amendment. I do think it moves in the right direction. As you said, having the choice, having those areas that we can clarify the definitions, I definitely think that's moving there. We still have some concerns on our end, so we're going to be a little mixed on this side of the House. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say a couple things myself, and I just want to reiterate that this bill does not change existing Washington law related to parental consent for reproductive or gender-affirming care services, and it does not suspend any mandatory reporting requirements when abuse or neglect is suspected. And as Senator Wynn said, it is a bill around housing. And we know that we have lots of young people that are unhoused and that are in our community, and they need help. And our systems contain many, many barriers that keep individuals from being able to accept services and from coming inside. As Senator Wynn has said, this bill has drawn quite a bit of vocal opponents and has generated quite a bit of controversy. But I hope that all of us would agree leaving youth outside is not the right answer to the situation, and increases increased danger to them, as a matter of fact. And a lot of the opposition was really focused on parental consent and the state stepping in the role of parental consent or parents. But we really need to think about this more around how we're going to remove barriers to accessing shelter for youth so that they don't face even worse consequences if they are unhoused. And so it's not about taking away parental control, but it is around crisis stabilization for young people so they don't spiral out of control and that we can connect with them and provide them services and supports that they need. So I look forward to moving this bill through and would ask for your support and your on this vote. Vice Chair. I guess I should say all in favor of the proposed substitute, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the proposed substitute receive a due pass recommendation and be sent to the Rules Committee.
Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. The bill is passed, subject to signatures. Next up, we have Senate Bill 560.